Hey, what's up? Big Earl Northtownsound. How's it going? Today's video is just a rant. If you don't feel like watching a rant, that's fine. There's a bunch of videos down there. I'm sure YouTube's recommending. I had a guy who came over this weekend, and he bought a Treble Overdrive. Smart guy, great pedal. And he started using this term that I keep hearing time and time again lately, and it's causing me grief. He kept talking about my tone. Everywhere you go on the internet, people are saying this. Every time you're talking to guitar players or you're hearing them in music stores, they're going, my tone, my tone, my tone. It's causing me grief, man. He had a couldn't stand the weather t-shirt on. Okay. Played a Strat, strung heavy. He had some sort of Marshall tube combo. I didn't quite catch what model it was. And he had a V. His other line was going through a Fender Frontman, going into an old Yamaha Leslie, which is what he was using the overdrive for. But he was on the lookout. He really wanted to get a Fender Vibroverb. And then he'd say, oh yeah, that's going to perfect my tone. I'm like, dude, that's not your tone. That was Stevie Ray Vaughan's tone. And it was his tone for a short period of time, too, you know, if you read up on stuff. And he got a little pissed with me, and, you know, he was a nice guy, okay? You know, I'm not trying to be an asshole. My tone. Oh, I hate that term. 90% of players that go, my tone, are either trying to emulate the sound of one of their influences, or number two, they're using something so tried and tested that there's thousands of other people with my tone. I was dealing with this guy a couple of weeks ago who had, he was running humbuckers through a JCM 800. That was my tone. I was like, oh yeah, just like Ian Mackay. Went right over his head. I'm discussing electric guitars. Now, if you play acoustic guitar, you are very limited on the amount of sounds that you can make out of an acoustic guitar. I should know, I played nothing but acoustic for 8 years and got carpal tunnel out of it. Yay. But I mean, when you're playing acoustic, you know, you can either finger pick or you can flat pick it, or you can do a combo of the two, or, you know, you can play over here or you can play over there. You can't really change the inherent sound of an acoustic guitar that much, right? Which is why we've got electric guitars where we can do stuff like that. You have your electric guitar with its electronics, you got the amp, you got pedals maybe. You can create an amazing variety of sounds. So why would you want to be stuck with one sound? Why would you want to be stuck with my tone? Or maybe you have my tone plus the high gain version and the wah version. That's what I'm trying to get at here, you know. Maybe it's time to think about creating more sounds, okay? This is Joey. I've used Joey on a couple of other demos of mine. This is a $130 SG copy, which I'd like to point out, 130 bucks if I can get the angle right. The neck angle's right. Set neck instrument, neck angle's right. Think you can do that, Gibson? Dicks. Maybe I didn't get the rant out of me. So when I got this thing, neck pickup was great. This is still one of my favorite neck humbuckers. I don't know what they did, but it's dark and it's growly. It sounds amazing with the tone off. The bridge pickup was thin. Very thin. So I swapped it out with the GFS Mean 90. Love these pickups. And when I put them together, somehow I accidentally wired it out of phase with the humbucker. But I discovered something kind of interesting. So this would be the bridge pickup by itself, nice and clean. And then with the two of them together, it's out of phase. There's something really weird happening there, though. It's very, very honky. But there's this weird overtone phase cancellation thing that's happening, especially as you go down the neck. Which I was like, hey, that's totally cool. I'm into that. So I was like, you know, phase cancellation, Best thing to do when you got phasing issues, throw in some gain. So of course, out comes the big muff. So if we go to the bridge pickup again. So it's almost like it's a half-cock wah-wah sound or something like that, right? I dig that sound. I've used it a lot in recordings. Is that my tone? No, that's one of my sounds. Instead of looking for the one tone, because we can create so many, why not just have a huge bevy of tones available to you? Instead of just looking at your influence or looking at, what Buddy at the Bar sounds like or whatever. Think of other sounds you like. Sounds off a record, sounds you've heard off the radio. When you become a noise monkey like me, you start thinking about sounds from nature, sounds from machinery and stuff like that. Black Sabbath came from the sounds of machinery, right? So maybe, if any of this makes sense, when you're done watching this video and listening to me yap, go grab one of your guitars, grab some of the gear you got, and see if you can create a new sound. It doesn't have to be the greatest sound in the world. It could be an ass sound. Maybe that's what you need, right? To do a part at some point down the line. And start cataloging these ideas. Don't limit yourself by some narrow paradigm. Hopefully that's in the camera. Some narrow paradigm of what a guitar should sound like. There's knobs on here. Play with those. A lot of guitar players don't understand that. Your amp where you haven't changed the tone settings in years. Maybe move those a bit. See what happens. See if that inspires you, right? It's not about rushing out and grabbing gear all the time, right? Sometimes it's just what you got. Sometimes it doesn't cost a lot. And sometimes you can find something cool out of it. That's my rant. Hopefully some of that made sense. I've got some stuff in transit. There's going to be some new demos coming up here right away. In the meantime, if you want to go check the shop, links down there, northtownsound.myshopify.com. I'm also on Reverb. Just look for Northtown Sound and we'll go from there. Okay? Big Earl, Northtown Sound. Thanks a lot for letting the fat man rant. Later.